That means Conrad, sit down. No. All right, good evening, everybody. At this time, please silence your cell phones and be advised these proceedings are being recorded. For those physically present in the council chamber who desire to address the city council during the meeting, please complete the request to speak form available at the front entrance of the council chamber and present it to the city clerk. Speakers physically present will be called upon at an appropriate time, and each person will be allowed 3 minutes of speaking time. I'm going to call this meeting to order May 27th, 2025 at 6 p.m. The invocation will be given by Pastor Patrick, and the Mayor Pro Tem will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand.
Good evening, everyone. Being today's Tuesday and yesterday we celebrated Memorial Day, I think it's fitting that we take a moment to call to memory those we know that have served our country, moms and dads and grandparents, those who served and gave their lives, especially. I have an uncle that was killed during the Second World War, my dad's brother. But most of all, when I think of Memorial Day, I think of what God did for us. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23 through 26, he said, "On the night that Jesus was betrayed, he took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, 'Take, eat, this is my body, which is given for you,' or broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same manner, he also took the cup, and after supper, saying, "The cup is the new covenant in my blood. This do as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes again." And so I'm honored to remember and call to memory those who have given their lives, especially, I think, the Lord Jesus, who gave the ultimate gift. Father, we pray that you would give us the ability to not only remember, but also to honor those who gave their lives, to honor those who served, to honor those who have done what they've done in order to protect the rights of others, especially those rights to speak our mind. We thank you for what Jesus did for us. And so we remember and we honor him this Memorial Day. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Patrick from Brook Church. Have a blessed night. Madam City Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Brown?
Here.
Councilmember Allen?
Here.
Councilmember Wilson?
I am here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabino? Here. Mayor Hussey?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Item B, public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on any item not appearing on the regular agenda. Because of the restrictions contained by California law, the City Council may not discuss or act on any item not on the agenda, but briefly respond to statements made or ask questions for clarification. The mayor may also request a brief response from staff to questions raised during public comment, or may request the matter be agendized for future meetings. Do we have any public comment?
Cindy Bindi?
Good evening. I don't know, I never know if this is in the right place, so holler. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Today I want to talk about bundling multiple unrelated or loosely related items into one legislative body, such as zoning code amendment ZCA 2404 in Grand Terrace is dangerous and deceitful for citizens for several key reasons. It avoids proper legislative process. Best practice in government is to address different policies areas separately, though individual hearings, public notices, and votes. Combining them all in one bundle violates the spirit of open government and risks legal and procedural challenges. Some residents may argue that bundling violates procedural fairness and transparency laws under the Brown Act or CEQA, especially if environmental or land use impacts are hidden. It disrespects the voter intelligence and voice. This approach treats citizens not as informed stakeholders, but as obstacles to be managed. It suggests the city fears opposition or debate, so it chooses to overwhelm the public with volume instead of clarity. It creates the perception, justified or not, of backdoor policymaking and erodes public confidence in local government. It reduces transparency. When dozens of distinct municipal codes are amended under one item, the average citizen cannot easily understand or evaluate the full impact. Each chapter, whether it concerns noise ordinance, fireworks, sidewalk vending, massage parlors, or agricultural zoning, has its own set of implications. By bundling them, it becomes nearly impossible for residents to grasp what they're being asked to accept or oppose. Citizens are kept in the dark this way about specific changes that could directly affect their neighborhoods, rights, and property values. Limits public input and accountability. Each chapter being amended may be of deep concern to different segments of the community. When these are all bundled together, citizens cannot give informed feedback or specific topics. Therefore, forced to either support or reject everything wholesale. The city avoids meaningful scrutiny and sidesteps democratic accountability. Enables hidden and controversial changes. Bundling allows controversial changes buried among mundane and widely supported ones. Yes, sir. I got 4 seconds. Is that what this says?
Go ahead.
Okay.
How much longer do you have?
This is it. A single unpopular clause can be masked with dozens of routine updates. This tactic undermines trust in the legislative process. A restrictive change in signs, Chapter 18.8, noise, Chapter 8.108, may go unnoticed until enforcement begins, and then it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you.
Margaret Gonzalez.
Good evening, Mayor Hussey and City Council members. My name is Margaret Gonzalez, and I am a youth advocate and a member of Community Coalitions for Change. I am also a senior at Grand Terrace High School and will be graduating tomorrow. I would like to take this opportunity to invite you all to a very special event hosted by the Community Coalitions for Change. The coalition will be hosting a Hope in Action this Saturday, May 31st from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Grand Terrace Senior Center. This will be an opportunity for community members to come together and learn about all the efforts made of the Smoke-Free Outdoor Spaces campaign. We will have resources, vendors, an educational presentation on the work of the Community Coalitions for Change, and a drawing at the end. Make sure to come out and invite your friends and families to come out as well. Thank you, and we hope to see you there.
Thank you. What was the time again?
10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. I actually have the flyers. If you're interested, I'll be able to pass them out.
Okay, you know that we have a community calendar that they could place that on there too? Okay. All right. Are you sure you're graduating tomorrow?
Yes.
All right, I'll be out there. Ask if you could go first so I could go home early.
Oh,
Congratulations, young lady.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
No more public comment.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
You know, I just got to hand it to this group of people doing this Coalition for Change, that they selected our city and to work on improving the health. Thank you for this wonderful T-shirt, Margaret, and all of your colleagues up there, and for all you do for our city. Thank you.
I had a walk for one of those T-shirts. You just gave it to him? Oh, I see. I think I did like 1,000 miles or something. All right, well, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Item C, we have none. Consent calendar, item D. The following consent calendar items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They'll be acted upon the city council at one time without discussion. Any council member, staff member, or citizen may request removal of the item from the consent calendar for discussions. Is there any public comment on the consent calendar?
No, sir.
Mr. Mayor, if I,
Yes.
yeah, sorry to interrupt. Item 6, regarding the Community Facilities District, we are going to be re-agendizing that at the next meeting.
So we're
So we'll be-
removing item 6.
Correct, we will remove it from this meeting.
Okay, does I have any other removals or discussions? From council? No? So I need a motion from item 1 through 5 and 7
I'll move.
through 8.
I'll second it.
Oh, through 7. So, City Attorney, do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
So item 1 through 5 and item 7, please vote.
Pardon me, Mayor. I didn't hear who seconded that. I heard Mr. Allen?
did.
Okay, perfect. Motion passes unanimously.
Now you messed up my flow.
Sorry.
I know, is it still your birthday month?
It is.
Okay, we'll let you go by.
Thank you.
Okay, so item E, public hearing, update facility use fees, presented by Ms. Tillman.
Good evening, City Council. Shanita Tillman, Senior Management Analyst. This brief update covers the 2025 revisions to the Facility Use Agreement and supports goal number 4, develop and implement successful partnerships. The Facility Use Agreement was first adopted in 1994 and has gone through a series of updates, most recently in November of 2024, to improve clarity, fairness, and facility operations. As our community uses the city facility more, we're more mindful of our public works maintenance team and that it's a staff of 5. While we're committed to supporting public use of our facilities, we want to ensure that our team is focused on the city's highest priorities, such as repairing potholes, enhancing safety, and continuing the beautification of the city. A proposed change is the introduction of a $50 setup and breakdown fee per rental. These fees cover the time it takes our public works staff to return the room to the standard layout. You can see the standard layouts here for both the community room and the senior center. Each layout provides ample seating and functional arrangement suitable for most gatherings. Applicants can avoid these fees by restoring the layout themselves. If not done, the amount will be deducted from their deposit. This policy applies to all groups, including nonprofits and community-based groups, and is designated to preserve the staff's resources without limiting access. We've also updated the lighting fee policy. Instead of being collected at the end of the season, lighting fees will now be due at the time of registration to help avoid delays in recovering field-related costs. Some of the policy changes are, due to recent issues, staff wants to clarify that subleasing the fields is strictly prohibited. Violations may result in the forfeiture of funds and potential revocation of future reservation privileges. And with recent improvements made to Richard Rollins Field, its use will now be limited to city-recognized teams and leagues only. To continue supporting our city leagues, the Grand Terrace Soccer Club, Grand Terrace Titans, and Little League will be given a 30-day scheduling window after their season ends to book their next season. And after that time frame, the calendar will be open to the public. And lastly, staff recommends City Council hold a public hearing on the proposed fee revisions and approve the city facility use fee schedule as designated in the report. And if you have any questions, I'm available.
Who has one? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you for that report. I appreciate that. Just a quick clarification question on page 92 of the agenda. Because the lighting fee is being moved to the beginning, being collected up front, the page that we're looking at on 92, is that supposed to be the edited version, the updated version?
It would be the edited, I don't have that page in front, but it would be the edited version.
Okay, it still says on that page due at the end of the agreement, and so just those modifications are
Yes.
needed on page 92.
Thank you.
And that was all. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? All right. Do we need a public comment on this one? I don't see it.
No public comment.
Okay. City Attorney, you have anything to add? Okay, so I need a motion for approval of staff recommendation in a second. Do I have one?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Now I have a question.
Well, I'm sorry, Jeff, you had a question? Go ahead.
No, I do, but I want to do the motion first, so it's open for discussion. It says, so, under recommendations, number 1 says hold a public hearing. Is that what we're doing right now? Yeah, because if we're getting ready to vote and approve these facility fees,
Well, we're voting on to hold a public hearing, right, City Attorney?
are we doing that, or are we also, because number 2 says approve the revised fees. So is this the hearing?
So we did the public hearing. We had no public comment, but we just noticed this for public comment. Nobody showed up, so we can go ahead and take the action now.
Okay.
So all the leagues were aware of this, right? All the,
Well, the leagues are already, as common practice, they're already paying up front. We just want to make this known to some of the other leagues, outside organizations, that they are to pay up front. But our leagues are already following that practice.
so our regular city leagues are already,
Yes.
they're not subleasing, are they? No comment, huh? All right. Okay, so we still have a motion second. Jeff, did that answer your question?
It does, and I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendation.
And we have a second. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, item F, unfinished business, none. Item G, new business, adoption of resolution and proposed budget, presented by Ms. Clayton, the finance director, and the city manager.
No, there's 5 of you and only 2 of us, so we got to work with the numbers.
Is that why you guys dressed the same today?
That's right.
Confuse us? Yeah.
Tougher to hit a target that looks the same. So, anyway, before Christine's gonna give you the numbers and work through the details, but I did want to kind of on a high level cover where we're at and what we're looking at for next fiscal year on the both the revenue and the expenditure side. On the revenue side, we've had several years. Actually, it was I think it was like 17 quarters of positive growth in our sales tax. The first quarter we didn't was last quarter, and that was because we couldn't replicate the massive income we had from the Condor Energy facility. But we are seeing a flattening in that growth. Typically, we've been about 3% a year. We're seeing that drop down a little bit to about 2%. Our consultant is projecting that we should stay in that range going throughout. One of the challenges with that is, and what we've done really well, is our 2 largest sales tax entities are construction goods, which, there's a slowdown in construction right now, so that's impacting sales from there, and fuel prices. And we're coming off of historic fuel highs. City managers are the only people in the world that hope for higher fuel prices, because that means we get more sales tax for the gas. And as the fuel prices come down, then obviously our sales tax revenue reduces with that price reduction. With that, though, our property tax has done really well, and we continue to do well. This Grand Terrace is in this stage in the community where we're have a mature enough community where there's a lot of turnover in homes, even without a lot of sales as there now. But there's continued to be turnover, and these homes, they've been owned for long periods of time. People bought these homes in the 80s and the 90s. They've held them. They've appreciated. So now when they're sold with the new on a new tax basis, we see a very large increase in the sales tax or the property tax. So that is a real strength for us. And what we're seeing going into the future is the same thing as our consultant said, probably a fairly flat sales tax for the next 12 months to 2 years. And then, the property tax continuing to kind of increasing or at least holding steady as we go forward. And we've continued to put a very conservative number in for our revenues and not making any kind of crazy projections. We could give you any balanced budget you wanted if I assumed that our revenues would go up by 700%. But obviously that's not a sustainable one. So we've put in very conservative revenue numbers. Our expenses, the two biggest ones are labor, and we do have a 5% increase for our staff this year, and we're seeing that reflected in our labor costs. And then the sheriff's contract, which at this point is flat. We'll see what happens when the sheriffs do their labor negotiation and if we get hit anything with that into the future. And we are anticipating that there will probably be a small increase in the sheriff's contract at some point mid-year. And I think we can absorb that in this year's budget. So we do have a very conservative and balanced budget that Christine will work through the numbers for you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Christine Clayton, Finance Director. Tonight we're going to go over the proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget. These are our 2030 visions and goals. For fiscal year 25-26, I'm projecting general fund revenues of $8.7 million and expenditures of $8.7 million, with a roughly surplus of about $3,000. From our HDL sales consultant, they're projecting sales tax to be $1.6 million. And again, HDL for our property tax, they're expecting property tax to be $3.3 million and the VLF swap to be $1.8 million. And that's a total of $5.2 million for property tax. On to our general fund revenues. Before you are our general fund revenues based on category. You can see in the first column on the left is the adjusted budget for 23-24, the actuals for 23-24, our adjusted budget for 24-25, my projection for 24-25, and the proposed budget before you for 25-26. And you will notice in the 23-24 actuals under sales tax, you will see $3.6 million. That is that influx that Conrad was speaking about of sales tax. That was a one-time payment. And this is just a graph showing that majority of our revenue comes from property tax. And our next largest is our sales tax. On to our general fund expenditures. Again, the same format as in the revenues, with our largest categories being salaries and benefits and professional contractual contracts, which include the sheriff contract. And here's just a graph that shows our expenditures. So we had our introduction with the budget workshop on May 13th, and hopefully with deliberations today and adoption today. Any questions?
Does council have any questions? Do we have anything to sell the fire department to make up some more money? Yeah. All right. No, so are we still good for our rainy day fund?
Yes, excuse me. Yes, we are still good for our rainy day fund. Next month, I will be bringing our reserves to council to show you guys what we have in reserve and what I would allocate for specific reserves out of our rainy day fund.
Okay. City manager, do you see anything on the horizon as far as generating more sales tax coming in?
No. I mean, we have Imad Center coming in, but that's really going to offset what we're going to lose from Advance Auto. And we have a couple of things in the pipeline, but not in the next 12 months. Anything we have now is going to be organic growth. And that is, one of our challenges is generating the sales tax, and filling that pipeline, because it takes 2 or 3 years to get a business up and running. So by the time they get here, they find their property, they do whatever changes to the building or build a building, and then come in and stop operating. So there's a fairly long pipeline with that. And our goal right now is to be filling that pipeline, so in 2 or 3 years, we have a positive growth.
What about property tax with the future Lewis development?
That will be substantial, but that is realistically 5 years out. They will be starting grading here probably by midsummer. We'll be well underway with that. But the first change in property tax will come upon the sale of the first house, and they really are at least 2 years out from selling their first house, and probably closer to 3.
Okay. So there's light at the horizon. We just got to be conservative until it comes our way.
We have to be careful. We're not looking at anything catastrophic out there. It's just right now, I don't even want to say it's lean. We just have to be careful. We don't have any hiccups in our cash flow. We have to make sure we don't have any hiccups on our expense side too. And we've done very well. If you saw some of the expenses, we've driven many of the costs down, and we're being proactive and active in managing those costs. So as long as we don't do anything crazy in the next couple of years, we're not going to be fat, dumb, and happy 5 years from now. But we will have a revenue source from the Lewis project that will help us sustain where we're at. And I'm not seeing that as doing any income that's going to say, gee, we have a lot of money and we can do more things, but it certainly will allow us to continue doing what we're doing.
All right. Councilor Allen?
Sometime back, we started investing we put a substantial sum into an investment fund. And I'm wondering if we've added to that, or if that's an annual thing, was that a one-time thing?
That was a one-time investment. I think you know what the amount.
And how has its performance been?
So we put 500,000 in.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've generated reasonable returns for that investment. We're not adding anything else as we go forward. And frankly, one of our challenges is the unfunded liabilities. And we had this discussion this morning that we carry more of that than most cities do, because we had the daycare center, and a fairly large number of those employees left and went to retirement. So we are carrying that retirement burden for a larger percentage of employees than you would normally have in a normal city mix. And along with that, we are carrying their health care burden as well. So this is going to be something that's going to take years for these individuals to fall off.
So I was reading also a report recently that the CalPERS and also CalSTRS, but the CalPERS has been affected by the current federal administration's up and down decision makings with tariffs and everything else to do with the economy, and that CalPERS has actually suffered quite a bit from it. Have you received any information or updates on that, on like what, I mean, because whenever, I know that we have to backfill CalPERS whenever
We do have to
dives like
backfill,
it's
and
done.
As to the cause, I'm not going to speculate, but CalPERS is invested in the stock market.
Right.
So as stocks go up, we have surpluses, and as stocks go down, we have deficits. And right now, with the stock market being down relative to where it was last year, there will be a CalPERS deficit that we're going to have to make up. Hopefully, in good years, then that will offset that. But it really, the CalPERS return is, if you follow the stock market, you follow CalPERS' return, because they're so heavily invested in the stock market.
Yeah, and if you follow it, then you know that we're going to have to be looking at this budget again.
If there's, we'll see what it looks like next year.
Yeah.
But we do have to backfill that, and right now it's a cost.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have any other questions? City Attorney, you have anything to add? Okay. Well, thank you for that hard work. So the recommendation is to adopt this. Do I have a motion for adoption in a second?
Move to adopt.
Second it.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt the budget. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Future agenda items. At this time, the city council may propose the items for discussion and/or actions at the future duly agenda city council meeting. The consensus of majority of the quorum is required to place any item on a future agenda. Do I have any future agenda items request? Bless you. Whoever sneezed. No? All right. We'll go and close that one. Item I, City Council Communications. Councilmember Matt Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would like to quickly thank Conrad and the staff for their prompt action. During the last meeting, I requested that staff do outreach to the community on the Blue Mountain Trail project, and they were quicker than I could ever have imagined with the booth out at the Blue Mountain Festival, collecting surveys, and there's a survey that's available on Facebook. I think it is available until May 31st for anyone that wants to offer their opinion on that project before the design is finalized. So I just really wanted to thank you and your team. It was an impressive turnaround. So thank you to everyone that had a hand in that. And other than that, I had an opportunity to attend the Blue Mountain Festival. It was a fantastic event. As the mayor likes to say, Grand Terrace is a city it's a small city with a big heart, and it was just wonderful. So thank you to the city staff and all of our community organizations, and there are some folks here in the audience that helped make it happen. Your work is greatly appreciated by all. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Councilman Allen.
Thanks, Mayor. So since the last council meeting, on the day afterwards, on May 14th, I attended our local Chamber of Commerce meeting. And then thanks to the Chamber folks for putting on another good program. And I also attended the LAIE, the Los Angeles Inland Empire Civic Well Regional Roundtable. And again, the discussion centered around the Fire Safe program and community engagement and what communities can do to start those, and also updates on the insurance issue for homeowners. On the 18th, I attended, on May 18th, there was a town hall meeting that I attended with Congressman Pete Aguilar, and listened to him talk about what's going on in Washington, D.C. Of course, now, several days after that, you all know what he already told me there. But anyway, it was a a great time, and I got an opportunity to speak with the congressman about our local concerns here. The next day, on May 19th, I attended the San Bernardino County Veterans Advisory Committee meeting, we discussed some legislative bills that are before the state legislature for veterans' property tax relief and income tax relief. But on a real quick note for anyone who is listening to me or anyone up here who might know Colonel Frank Guevara, who was the director of the San Bernardino County Department of Veterans Affairs for several years, and turned that Department of Veterans Affairs into the best one in the entire state. And that's not me just saying that, that's the evidence, we'll back that up in the data. It's often referred to as the best county service office in the state, but the reason I mention that is because Colonel Guevara passed away, and his funeral will be on the day after tomorrow at the Bakersfield National Cemetery, or the Arvin National Cemetery in Bakersfield. And so for all of us San Bernardino County veterans and their families, each one of you benefited from the leadership of Colonel Frank Guevara when he was the director of the VA. And for that, we will miss him for that. Then I also attended on May 22, the Cal Cities Veteran Roundtable. So Cal Cities wants to start a caucus, a veterans caucus. We had about 30 cities represented there. They say they need 50, but I'm not sure if it's actually 50 because it's only 10% of the number of cities represented by Cal Cities. And there's only 480 something cities in the state. But it's almost 50 cities need to come on, need to say we would support it with the caucus. And I let them know that we've talked and that we're on board with that. And so then of course on yesterday, Monday, on the 26th, Memorial Day, I was at the Freedom Wall here in the city. And thanks a lot from my bottom of my heart as a veteran to all of those great volunteers in our city who host that and make that show happen. Thank you, thank you, thank you from a veteran. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman Allen. Councilmember Wilson?
Just a little housekeeping. We're going to have a lot of business starting to pass through our planning commission, and that's a good thing. Just want to make sure that we're still on track on some of the things that have already been approved. These things would be directed to the city manager. The logistical center, or what we call Hines, all the plans are approved, but at this point we don't have an ETA for them to commence demolition and clearing. And I guess I want to know if we know what their handicap is at this point to start.
This is a spec building, so there is no tenant for it right now. And as we heard the economist at Lake Arrowhead, the warehousing business is softening a little bit. So there is some excess capacity in Empire. So we probably won't see that capacity, that building go up until some of that capacity gets eaten up in other places.
Okay. Reality strikes. We also, I know we're in the process of formulating or reformulating our strategy in relation to the sheriff situation and trying to get another sheriff on board. And so it would seem to me that eventually we're going to have some kind of a meeting to determine how we're going to best address that situation. And I'm assuming with my colleagues in the dais that they'd agree that it would be good for us to start talking about it because 2026 is not very far away. So far as citywide traffic enforcement, we've already made our point. Okay, great. And then Barton Road, the Greens Group. Last report, it was an ET to Planning Commission in September of 2025. Are we still on track?
We'll get Barton Road specific plan there, and Greens will follow directly after that, so we're
Yeah,
still.
I know that's contingent on that, the Barton Road.
We're still
specific.
close to being on track. It may be October, but we're on track for that.
And then the Gateway, now that Lewis has finalized, or the greenhouse gas suit has been dismissed, our ETA, the date and timeframe we were talking about to groundbreaking was July of 2025, coming up on us in another month. Are they expressing any objection to that thought pattern?
They will probably hit end of July, start initial groundbreaking. I know they're doing some of the last surveys to do their undergrounding on the utilities, so it's.
So you're saying, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah, we'll be very close to that.
Yeah,
There will
close to
be equipment
July.
out there close to July, yeah.
Super. That's a big commitment for us, obviously. Let's see, we were going to try to review traffic impact fees on how they affect us from the outside. And so far, I believe we'd asked for an agenda item on it, but I'm not exactly sure when we're looking at it to become an agenda item or how we're going to review that. But and obviously, it's going to be an interesting challenge, because once you put houses on the ground, trying to recover impact fees for things that are obviously over-impacting us due to the amount of traffic that we have going on Mount Vernon is going to be kind of tough. But it would seem to me that if we do have some future building, that those units should at least inherit some of the burden on what's happening to us. I don't know if everybody else out there in the audience and so on have, realized just how much traffic we get in our peak times, but it's going to obliterate that road over time. And we can no longer count on a 30-year life on a road. When this city first became a thing after the county just dumped it on us, those roads were subpar. And that's what we had to deal with. Unfortunately, none of the city fathers addressed that issue until we grabbed a hold of it. And we put a plan in place, courtesy of the city manager, and we have been making progress on those things. But, unfortunately, degradation outruns the amount of funds sometimes. And so we've started to see an awful lot of alligatoring out there, and we're trying to catch it. But trying to catch it is tough because the roads were basically put in on sand, and that was it. We are forecasting the Kentucky Fried Chicken guys to be coming to the Planning Commission on the 26th of June. So that's a good thing. And then I've got a note here to address the J.C. Wallace thing, but I have no actions, so I'll just pass by that. The manufacturing building, is that the same thing as the center, the Heinz? Okay. All right, well, then we've already talked about that. That was February 2024, and obviously, the market has not come back so far, which hurts us. We have a first draft land plan and elevations available for review on the Barton Library or proposed library city center, and I was a little bit hazy on what our next move is. Can you advise us?
The next move is to start looking at fundraising for that.
Just fundraising?
Yeah.
So then that sounds like that's a budget. It's a budget issue as well as presentation materials.
Presentation, and we're going to have to find grants, fairly large funding source. We're looking at tens of millions of dollars.
I'm going to express my own opinion. I don't know, and I don't think that the rest of the council members necessarily agree with this, but it would seem to me that we should at least take a first slice at what the architect has provided to us, because it seems like it might be a little bit overstressed, overproduced. And that was our fear going into this situation without much input. But that's what architects do. They like to do those kinds of things. I'm assuming that we haven't heard anything from Aegis for a while. I know they have a few pieces of property that they've quasi hung up for an extended period of time.
We have not.
And I'm wondering whether either one of the parties in that group have the physical ability to move forward. Dutch Brothers, I know we were supposed to be doing some reversion to acreage on the Yasin piece. Has that actually taken place? Well, in order to be able to properly produce it over to the ultimate owner, we have to revert that thing, I believe, to acreage, because right now it is a public street.
That issue has been resolved.
Oh, okay, great.
So that'll be in Planning Commission the end of June.
And then we're looking at a ETA to Planning Commission on the 5th of June, which is a good thing. And I guess we could let the rest of the items hold for the time being, but these are, I'm sorry, the Barton Road specific plan, ETA to Planning Commission is supposed to be sometime in July. I'm only bringing these things up so that since the City Council, a lot of these things are a factor of the Planning Commission hearing things, and it's always good for us to be generated into this as well. And we've got so many pieces, so many moving pieces and parts, even though we're only a 3.5 square mile town, that sometimes it's difficult to keep track. I know that if I don't keep kind of a tick list on it, I start losing track over a period of time. So I appreciate your update, and we'll just keep on slugging at them, and please let us know if there's any change. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Wilson. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. Again, thank you to the staff for their presentation today and everything that they've done to keep us powering forward. I know it's difficult in this economic climate, but you know, we maintain our sustainability, and so thank you for that. I too did attend the Blue Mountain Festival, so thank you to all the volunteers, the organizations, and our senator and assemblywoman who participated with us. Such a great success. Thank you, Conrad, for all the work that you and your staff also put into that. I attended the Memorial Day service yesterday as well. Thank you to all of our, thank you to those who had served and to our families who are living without their loved ones for the freedoms that we live under today. I wanted to recognize the Titan Strikers. They are a soccer tournament team. They are local to Grand Terrace, and so if you're not familiar with them, reach out to them. They do travel soccer locally, and they are looking for sponsors. So definitely, if our chamber, our Grand Terrace Chamber is interested in connecting with them, they're a great organization. A lot of families and their kids who are in the area, they are looking for some support. Additionally, I wanted to also recognize that on June the 7th, there is a United Way local veterans Brave event. It's Veteran Resources Luncheon and Job Fair, June the 7th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 646 North D Street in San Bernardino. They will be providing free food, veteran services, community resource, and health check-ins, sponsored by a number of the County Board of Supervisors, local businesses, organizations, as well as our legislators. And one last item, the Assemblywoman did message today and thanked the City of Grand Terrace for welcoming her yesterday, and she thought that yesterday's Veterans Freedom event was just beautiful. So anyone who's out there listening, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. And the highlight of her speech was standing by me, right, Michelle? Okay. All right, Councilman Allen brought this to attention. On May 29th, from 3 to 6, the Wellness Wonderland Health Festival at the Indian Health Clinic on Mount Vernon. It's right over here by the, you'll see it right on Mount Vernon, right there by the convalescing hospital, right before that. So, yeah, they're having a health fair there, so the public is welcome. And let's see, June 6th, yeah, I don't even know if I'll be able to come to the 101 fire thing, because I'm going to be in Diamond Bar. That's where the Clean Air Resource Board, we get 1 minute to talk, and I guess there's supposed to be a lot of people, but it's for that gas appliances, to get rid of it and stuff. So I'll be over there representing our city, and I've been writing people and talking to the representatives on that governing board. But one question comes to mind as I'm reading and researching all this same CEQA, the Southern California Clean Air Act, also gave rebates to get rid of burn-wooding fireplaces and convert to gas fireplaces. So I don't know what's going on around here. So they don't want gas, they want gas, I have no idea. So that's one question I'll ask. But, you know, the squeaky wheel is going to get the oil, and it's going to be, I don't know what time I'll be done, but we're going to go there and represent Grand Terrace. And because it is, we do have a lot of older homes, and to convert them to all gas will cost a lot. And they did say there's rebates, but rebates are only offered for a certain income. And even with middle class and people raising families and stuff, that's still going to be a big burden on a lot of people. So, so we'll be doing that. The Blue Mountain Festival was great. You know, I appreciate all the hard work staff did and all the volunteers. And, you know, the parade is getting bigger and bigger. One thing, we might have to put the fire truck in the back because you guys act like you're going to a fire. You left me hanging back there. I didn't know where my staff was at or anything, so. And I think you guys did have to go to a fire during the thing, so yeah. You might want to tell them to slow down a little bit if they're going to lead the parade. Otherwise, we'll get the sheriffs to lead it. You know, we'll do it the right way, so. All right. Yeah, because then we could put the council in the SWAT vehicle, all right? So you might get fired. We'll give you one more shot, buddy. This is it. 3 strikes, you're out. All right. The Bearcat, yeah. Well, we're going to have riot gear and do marching formation. Move, move. All right. But yeah, I think this city council might be able to handle the LA riots. I heard about that. You know, nobody got arrested. I don't know what's going on. So the Freedom Park, great opportunity to honor our fallen, and for the staff you know, they put up those new placards there, and they put up a new sign for Veterans Freedom Park sign, you know, and I was asked, hey, when was that sign put up? I go, well, it was supposed to be temporary. 7 years ago, it's almost 9, almost 10 years ago when we made that park, you know, we dedicated it. I mean, time flies. But I also went to, Shad had a thing at his house he does every year. It's a beautiful ceremony for the American men and women in our service, you know, the light show. So I appreciate his family doing that every year. But only 2 things that was kind of heartbroken is somebody went and vandalized the Freedom Park, some of the placards, they scratched it, and they just stole that new plaque that was donated from the Women's Club for that gentleman. I can't remember his name, so I know Alex was going to go check out the recycle place, so I don't know if we need to put out a thing on there. I'm sure it's all cut up and it's gone by now, but I mean, it was a great thing that staff put on there, and they made it right by the tree, and it's a way to honor that man, and somebody just doing that, that's just plain selfishness. So I don't know if the camera caught it, Conrad, but it's facing right on there.
They did not.
So we have to see, I mean, if they need donations, I'll help donate to get a new plaque. And it's, maybe we'll just, I don't know if you could do brass or anything, maybe just plastic now. I have no idea. It's just what we could do. Let's see, what else do I got here? That's pretty much it, you know, and it was great during the parade that our senator and assemblywoman, they came here and represent, you know, it was a blessing, and it was beautiful weather during the parade, and The car show was great. It was just, the grass looks great. I know you guys put some, the temporary fence back up. Is it open now, Rawling Park?
It will be closed until the end of June when soccer starts. We want to keep as little traffic as possible on that, and really let it establish well, because that turned out really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best I've seen it since my kids played soccer. So, and tomorrow, I want to wish the class of 2025, congratulations on your graduating from Grand Terrace High School. I will be there on the field. I guess, the only other time I was on that field, well, on a field for graduation when I graduated in '82, and yes, they did have graduations back in those days, so, but it went fast. And, but no, I'm proud of our students and what they got accomplished and stuff, and, they're able to have a graduation, and a lot of them are going to start a whole new way of life, some are going to go in the military, some are going to, go to college, and some are going to go work in trades, so it's a great way to honor them in the class of 2025. So that, I don't have anything else. Conrad, do you have anything?
Yeah, a couple of real quick ones. You mentioned the plaque. We will be replacing that with an epoxy, not a bronze. Apparently, the price of bronze is why they steal it, and it was very disappointing because that was a nice plaque and brand new. But we're getting that replaced as we speak. The grass, just a little information for those that are listening and watching. We actually have a separate mowing outfit that the soccer fields are mowed differently than the baseball fields, and the baseball fields are mowed differently than our regular fields. We have 3 different organizations mowing those fields so that we're not cross-contaminating and moving seed and weed from one field to another field. So hopefully we can protect all 3 of those resources, because they are different types of grass used for different things. And we're going to take the time and the effort and the money to take care of the nice things we have, rather, like my mom used to say, you can't have nice things unless you take care of them, and we're going to take care of our nice things. We did put in the fence up by the dog park on Vista Grand, on the hillside there, to stop illegal parking and dumping. So at least since I was in high school, we used to go up there and do things we shouldn't have done. And now, hopefully, we're putting an end to that some years later. It is. Lots of stuff comes back to haunt me. And then for the city pieces, I really want to encourage people and really thank the residents. We've been doing a great job on the See Something, Say Something, getting the calls into the right places, getting us dispatched as we need to be, and allowing us to respond in a timely manner. And that's important, so we can provide that service that you all expect. On our homepage, somebody made a comment about the website has changed a little bit. We have the calendar page in the bottom of the homepage. Please take a look at that. That's the place where if you have an event, anything going on in the city, you can enter that. There's an ability for you to enter your events, your organization to enter your events. We can post that for the entire community to come out and be involved. I think it's a great way for us to really knit the fabric of the community together rather than have a bunch of independent groups. And then we continue to put up articles. We fell a little bit behind here the last week with Grand Terrace, with the Blue Mountain Festival, but on the Just the Facts piece, we'll continue to put up articles as they come along, and please take a look there for what's new and what's going on in the community. And other than that, I do want to thank staff for everything they've done, both for the event and for the city as a whole. It's a great looking city right now. Things are going well, and it's an exciting, fun time to be here. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Conrad. Once again, thank you for updating the Freedom Park with the new signs and stuff. And it was really a blessing to see that. And does the fire department have anything? No fires to put out? Was everybody all right during the festival when you put out that one fire?
Yeah, it actually was a good save. As we're running an attic fire that the crews decided to go to. We had a cover engine here as well, so they were able to put a good stop on it.
Okay. The Sheriff's Department, do you have any updates?
Yes, just a couple things. Blue Mountain Festival, and I'll just kind of piggyback on that as well. Yeah, great event. And I've told Conrad this in the weekly staff meetings, just driving through driving through Grand Terrace, everything looks great. I mean, it's just events like that, and with the community all getting together and just driving through Grand Terrace, I mean, it's just clean. There's no graffiti. Like, it just looks good. When things are addressed, I mean, they're getting on it with the staff you guys have, and just, I'm sure the community really appreciates it, but the city looks great right now. So just a couple things. We had a DUI event on this last Friday on the 23rd to go out there and address impaired driving in the city. So there's just under 40 stops in the city during that time frame. I believe it's from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. and no DUI arrests. So which is good, because obviously people aren't driving around Grand Terrace impaired. So like I said, of those 40 vehicles they stopped and conducted tests on, no DUI arrest. To address some of the speeding concerns and things like that, I've been working with Sergeant Addy and the other staff at the station, and there is some plans in place to address that. And so one of them being, we do have a radar trailer that needed some work done on it. So that is being done as we speak now, and so that will be deployed out into the community here very shortly. So that's going to be placed in specific areas out and around the community in an effort to deter these drivers from speeding through that, and also extra enforcement to address that as well. So, but that's it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So can you have that radar trailer shoot spike strips out when they go too fast?
There is technology for that, but we do not have that. No. Yeah.
And then, those stop bars for the stop signs? Yeah. Question, LT. This is, me and my buddy, we went and picked up trash over there at the field.
Yep.
And I was told there was 3 homeless people sleeping on the sidewalk right there by Missoula. I didn't see them that morning because we were there from like 6 to 8, but I guess they got there later. And the only reason I'm bringing this up because when I drove through Loma Linda, one of the deputies there was stopped because the guy was sleeping. But then when I drove back, the same guy was there. So what's our protocol? Are our deputies being proactive and getting them off the sidewalks, or are they just going to check to see if they're still alive and leave them?
No, they're moving them. Yeah, there's like I said, there's municipal codes in place. There's no camping, so that's considered camping on the sidewalks, and they're not allowed to do that. So they need to move on. They grab their encampment, and they're moving on. So as long as they're moving to the out of the area and they're not staying stationary, obviously we can't particularly stop someone just because they're walking through a city. But if they're setting up a camp and they're doing something illegal and they're not supposed to be doing that, then yeah, they're going to go ahead and address that and move them on.
Because I know one of my questions, just to bring it up, not to say Grand Terrace, of course we don't want homelessness, and what's the biggest thing is try to help them, and you guys got 75 times to go out before they even offer or take the help, and then they're usually only 3 days. So the question was, Sergeant Abbey, so you said that camping's illegal, and also littering's illegal.
Yep.
And I know if we enforce tickets on them, even though we probably won't get anything, but after a while, then these tickets start adding up. 2 things: either they'll be taken in, right, for unpaid fines, and maybe they'll get the help then, or 2, they'll say, "Don't go to Grand Terrace, you'll get a ticket." So are we giving these guys tickets?
They are. Yep, they're getting those tickets. Bless you. Yeah, they're getting those tickets. So what'll happen is those will eventually go to warrant, and unfortunately they're not staying there. But it's one of those things where they're given enough citations, they're unpaid, they become a warrant, they get arrested, we collect their property, it goes into safekeeping, they go to jail, and then is it on a misdemeanor or infraction warrant, something like that. I mean, they're going to be in there a few hours and then they're back out again. So the hope is with the Sheriff's Department, this is the mission for the Sheriff's Department, is to provide them all these resources. We have a lot of different resources out there for them to get them housed, to get them food, to get them jobs. I mean, all these different things, but you're right, it comes down to as a matter of point is whether or not they're going to take that help, and so we can keep offering it, because at some point, in hopes that they do take that help for them.
Okay. So also one last question. Governor Newsom's not going to fund Prop 36. What is the San Bernardino County Sheriff's going to do about that?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's the, we have plans in place right now to offer those resources, as far as Prop 36 goes, if it's any of those crimes that are being committed, we're being proactive to go out there and arrest them, take them into custody, and offer them resources while they're in custody. And the same thing when they come back out again.
So we're still going to enforce Prop 36 for all those?
Correct. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
The state doesn't want to help us.
Yes,
All
it is the stance of the sheriff of this county that he is enforcing Prop 36.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, so we have no closed session. I want to once again thank the staff and all the volunteers of this city and the residents for making, Blue Mountain Festival happen and honoring our fallen at Veterans Freedom Park and everything that you do for our city. And remember that thing, if you see something, say something. Don't post it on Facebook. Don't call me, call the sheriffs. If you can't get the non-emergency number, which is, what's the number?
38, God, you got me on, hold on a second.
I put you on the spot.
I know you got-
867-5309?
No,
Janet?
no. I literally knew you were going to do that too.
Well, if you can't get a hold of them on the non-emergency number, you could call 911, all right? If you see a fire, call 911.
There you go. 909-387-8313. I should have said it. That was the one I thought. 387-8313. Thank you.
Please call that, and then we do have code enforcement and all different hours. So, yeah, we have to be proactive in our city, and we appreciate, I even appreciate the fire department. But make sure you buy your roofing materials here in Grand Terrace, so our tax dollars will be put to use, all right? All right, so our next meeting will be June 10th at 6 PM. Any request to have an item placed on a future agenda must be in writing and submit to a city clerk. So, good night, God bless.